I have zero inbox. Do you know that? We do another contract here. Well, let's do a 3-hour show. We should be done right now.
Well, you're having this negotiation with me. That's the only problem.
Well, who am I supposed to negotiate with? Fred? And the one thing I don't respond well to is humiliation. I don't respond well to it at all. You know, I don't want to be told what a shithead I am. I don't want to. You know, those days are over. I've suffered enough in this business. I don't need to find out what a shithead I am.
Are you ready for this?
You cut your hair, man. What'd you do? What's going on?
I'm getting old.
So what?
You know, I can't keep it like yours.
You know, I'm old too. So what?
Yeah, but you're ugly.
Thanks.
Jesus.
What are you saying? I need the hair?
You need it.
No,
boy, you need it.
You know, it's just interesting when people have their kids on the air.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, if a kid was a fuck-up, you just keep them quiet.
I put my kids on the air more, but they want no part of it.
When you're trying to just have a friendly conversation, when he's irritable, the things you do every day become the wrong thing to do.
That's true.
He doesn't listen.
That's right.
But the most irritating thing of all is that we used to be good friends, and we just aren't anymore. I still love him, but he says everybody's expendable, and I just have to live with that.
I was going to look for a Nikki Hilton. But you see, those good-looking rich girls, they don't go for a guy like me because they don't need my money.
And Rickles tells me this story. So Beth says to Don Rickles, gee, I wonder what they say about me behind my back. Don Rickles goes, you? No one cares about you. You're not even that important.
No one says anything about you.
No one talks about you.
I don't even know you.
You're not that big.
I do have to ask, do you think there's a physical match between him and Beth?
Do you? I guess they're both tall and have 10 fingers.
Yeah, they look right together.
I don't know, they look more right together now.
It was just on the regular show.
It just occurred to me that I listened to them.
Like, it dawned on me like 2 days ago, my hair's going to get crazy because I don't have, I'm not going to get a haircut. And then Beth goes, I'll cut your hair, but you can't cut my hair because my hair is curly. It's
hard to cut your hair.
I think it's interesting that the caller, almost went into a worse fake cry than when Sal was told that this was going to be the last show and he was retiring and it was so fake. Or when they put him in a spaceship and then he had to pretend.
Yeah. God.
These were so fake that seemed more convincing than that cry. I love you, man.
Okay, well, you'll love this one. This next clip is called "As Organic as a Can of Pringles."
Oh God.
When you're ready, can we please have Sal channel Ralph, please? And
absolutely.
No, I did think maybe he could contact him for us.
I don't know if it works that way.
If anyone can get in touch with Ralph, it'll be Sal. In fact, I think Sal's already been in touch with him.
Really?
You know.
And so Sal, next clip, Sal really coming through like in a pre-planned pinch.
So we're so distraught about this death that we already have a Sal bit lined up.
And
like
we have
Sylvia
a fake caller
Brown
ready to promo it to make it seem like it's just come out of nowhere.
He's so distraught that his best friend died that he's basically turning Sal into Sylvia Brown right away.
Well, yeah, this is the way it's gonna go. Like, hey guys, listen, Ralph's dead and I need a psychic bit from you, Sal. Okay, good. Thank you. Good.
Okay, next up, Jay Deeney.
Yeah.
Are you ready yet to contact Ralph Go ahead.
I am going to fully prepare for this for Ralph. A lot of people don't know this, but, when you guys would break my balls about the dimes and the squirrels and the Cardinals, believe it or not, the first person who called me was Ralph.
I'm surprised Howard didn't contact him about the dimes.
So now,
so this was in the same in the space of the same so-called eulogy episode. You know, the one he did when Sam Kinison died was actually good radio. It was actually seemed like there was some kind of feeling of loss there, even though I know he just used Ralph. He's used Sam like he used everybody else to get ahead in the business. And once Sam fell out of fashion, he would have just dropped him like a hot potato anyway. And had he lived, Sam Kinison. But at least it seemed like you had people that really legitimately loved him called in. Corey Feldman called in. He was very I know Corey Feldman's not the best source, but he did have a close relationship with Sam near the end of his life. And but this is, you know, he didn't make a bit of Kinison when he died at any one point.
No, I mean, this is just, to me, so insane.
It's heartless if you're on a human level. Not that I expect anyone to have a heart about Ralph, but I'm saying if he is so broken up, you don't do a bit like this the same day you're announcing it.
We don't have to care about Ralph, but if anybody should, it was supposedly supposed to be Howard. So this is crazy to me. And we now are starting already. So we made up the 9/11 conversation, and now we're going to make up a conversation where Sal talked to Ralph actually about the squirrel thing and the quarter thing. And he was the first one who called me about my ability. So now we're just already telling lies about his life before it's been. Is he still fucking warm on the table? I mean.
Yeah, well, there's still some organs to be harvested from his corpse. Ben?
No, I was just thinking similar to the Sam Kinison death. Fred comes out of retirement to write a song about Ralph's death, the same way he wrote Sounds of Kinison. I heard, because you sent me that clip, and I heard the train guy cover it. Oh, and I know you'll get to this on another episode, but the lyrics could be about anybody. There's not a single thing in there that's specific, except for that he throws it in the name Ralph. But the one thing that I thought was so telling was the line about our secret dreams will never be shared, or whatever it was. But the fact that Fred, as Howard, writes about secret dreams that he and Ralph had together.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. This goes right in line with the whole call that he said, Ralph was very private about his life. I know things. I'll take him to my grave. And, he kept my secrets, too. This is, again, how much more in your face do you want it that Howard lost his, little paid fuckboy?
And why even acknowledge that you have secrets? Why bring that up? I'm not going to elaborate. I have secrets.
Mm-hmm.
What compelling radio?
The most honest man in show business, Ben.
Right. It's all about just no more bullshit. The next and the last clip of the eulogy day, guys, is Harvey Leeds addresses the gay rumors about them. And I can't believe he let this one go through. I really can't. This is the tail end of it. He was a music promoter back in the day. I think I'm unless I missed my guess. And I seem to recall he had some involvement with Prince back in the day, but maybe a road manager, that kind of thing. I'll see if I can get that right.
But people thought you and him were romantically involved.
My kids thought that.
People.
My kids used to go, "What's with you and Ralph?" Because my kids walk in, I'd be in my underpants, Ralph was shaving my belly. You know what I mean?
Okay, now first of all, it was a guy coming in to check the story was the gardener or the landscaper caught them. Whatever. Now it's his kids caught him doing this.
This is exactly what I was saying about he knows he's been caught off microphone doing something, so he has to rush to the microphone to say it, basically get ahead of it so that it gets back to the witnesses. Oh, that was Howard being he was doing that for the air. He was going to do that to talk about it. He's got a guilty conscience that he clears by going and confessing it on the air.
Condom gate.
All right. This now, to me, shifts the whole perspective when the kids told Allison they caught something. The kids told Allison. Allison had an inkling from the whole She knew something was up when Private Parts was being made. The condoms in the trailer. Ralph and him spending so much time together, locked in the basement with the fish tank and whatever the fuck was going on. Their nights out and their boys' nights out. Right. But that story was never Ralph getting caught. It was always somebody else. And now that it was Ralph shaving the belly and the girls caught him shaving the belly, I guarantee you she knew he was gay. He needed a beard cover up right quick. Buchwald got in touch with whoever. They set up this whole thing where now she's going to be involved. So yes, was Beth involved earlier in his life than he lets on? Yes, but not sexually, but for that bearded contract, because what really happened was he got caught with Ralph.
That's always been our contention when we did the our episode 100, guys, Rubbergate. The whole where he goes, Ralph calls in and then Allison calls in, and I remember saying at the time when we recorded it, this was his way of saying to Allison, look, just for the sake of this, I need you to we're gonna lose everything if I'm outed as gay. So if you want more money in the alimony or whatever, when we get through the divorce, we need to propagate the idea that this was not a gay thing. Otherwise, I'm done, and you're not going to get any more money than you really should get.
I'll also say that you can explain to your daughters if you're getting shaved on the stomach. Not that anybody that I know of would ever do that kind of thing, but they're not going to mistake that for gay sex.
Right.
No, they're not.
One man's fully clothed for one thing. And he's holding a razor for another thing. So no one's going to mistake that. So that's what Howard's willing to tell us that they saw. But, like I said last time, they don't listen to the show. They don't go on message boards. They don't know anything. They only know what they witness. And they have the same theory that everybody that we listeners have. Yep. Great point. Except that they have it from, but they don't have the on-air theatrics version of it. They have the this is the real me, Howard version of it, and they have the same conclusion.
Sam?
They have the actual unvarnished visuals that we're only being painted partial pictures of. I will say this. I think that Beth was already pre-picked before the Robin Givens and Angie, what's her name? Angie Everhart?
Yep.
Yeah. I think that Beth was already pre-picked in that time frame, except for they were going to soft launch her, but they needed to put more women in that dating pool to make it seem like he was some swinging dick
he was some
bachelor.
Raging
perusing
heterosexual.
For a poon hound for a certain period of time. But I think they already had that contract written up for Beth. I think that she was going to get the prize, but then they launched her after that was all said and done with the bullshit Robin and Angie thing.
Well, consider all the beards throughout the history of Hollywood, actual Hollywood. Like people think this is completely irresponsible speculation. And, how dare you? No. What do you mean? How dare me? You'd have to think that. You'd have to in this situation.
There's crazier with all this, weird things
with all
that
the
have
audio. Without the audio that we have, I get it. It's a bunch of nuts saying there was 16 shooters at the Kennedy assassination. It's a controlled demolition and all that shit with Building 7. I get where some people would come with that, but we are using the audio. We are heavily influenced by the audio we get from the show throughout the decades, folks. Not just the odd clip here and there. Literally, I have 100 gigs of audio that I've clipped and that I've downloaded of archives that have not been edited. They've not been altered. You can edit audio tape, but not to the extent that it'll sound natural, so you'll know it's bullshit or not. Ben?
And we've only come to the same conclusion that everyone who's known him from every stage in his life has come to.
Yes.
It's not like we're just, you guys are just looking for it. I mean,
confirmation
we were probably
bias.
in denial for the long time because it's like when you're first exposed to it on a message board, you're like, what? Howard?
That's it.
He's married. That's
it.
You have to be convinced. And I have to tell you, I've never thought about it this way, and I don't know if I believe it, but just listening to you guys talk and then remembering the Private Parts trailer writer list, it never occurred to me that the condoms might be for use on Ralph. It never occurred to me before, and I don't know if I believe it, but it of all the lies Howard came up with, he could have said, Ralph was being a cheapskate and requested those for himself.
Yes.
And getting the studio to pay for it. Instead, he goes, "Oh, he put it on there as a joke. It's a joke."
I know. And we saw the live reaction of Kumia when he replayed the Howard and Ralph relationship, and it dawned on him, and his face just completely changed. And it was like that aha moment everybody in his life who's ever known him peripherally or personally gets to, where it's like, holy fuck, how didn't I see this?
Did you, by the way, did you see that, Ben? Because I'm not a Kumia fan, but I definitely.
You have to show him this right now.
Okay, I'll just show him for the sake. We're not going to play it, but I mean, we're not going to record it.
Like they're like, wait a second.
They had real reason.
Yeah. Everyone thought like, hey, maybe there's something going on. But no one ever really presented that to me. I think they were afraid to. But
no, I would hear that a lot.
Yeah.
Not since you've been married, but when you were single and you guys were out, I would hear that all the time, Howard, from people.
Well, I'll tell you this.
Oh
we
my
were
gosh.
in love, but we weren't a couple.
Not
How's
that way.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. No.
Why would Gary just blew the lid off everything? If anybody needed more confirmation, now I know Gary makes up stuff, but why would he bring that up in this context?
This is giving
No, because he got permission essentially to bring it up.
Yes, I think so.
Sorry, I don't mean in a formal way he got permission. I mean by Howard acknowledging that the daughters thought that kind of allows Gary to go, okay, you know what? Everybody who's ever met you actually thinks that. But it's funny how Howard always brings it up like it's such a novelty, almost like, people think I'm gay. Like in a flirty way. It's not in a, I'm baffled by this. Like you would, if you're as straight as you claim to be, if people came up to you and you have people, if you said, people think I'm a dwarf, wouldn't you go, how could you possibly think that? You're 6'5". That should be as shocking as it is to keep hearing that you're gay when you're married with kids, and yet everyone believes it.
And if Gary's saying, and sorry, Sam, I know you want to say something. If Gary's telling him that all the time people would come up to him, it's because they knew something. And they wanted to. They weren't going to go to Howard if they knew him, and they knew that would be uncomfortable. But they could go to Gary, who's a big yenta, and can get a confirmation or something. Sam,
this plays more to my theory that people were coming out to Buchwald regularly. People were coming to Gary regularly. Things were getting out into the media about his homosexuality with Ralph, and they needed to do something to squash that pronto because it was getting too out of control. It was starting to spin. Next thing you know, Wendy Williams will be talking about it, or fucking Page Six, and that's the last thing you fucking need right now, Howard. So you better get your shit in line and get that beard contract signed and cut it out.
This is the period of time that Howard refers to as the mad terror.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So what he refers to as him, which he later on told Rolling Stone that he was using women sexually and I was being used for sex and it was a dark time. If that's the case, this is your mad terror and you're just going through women for sex. Who could mistake that for you being gay? So what's off? Your recollection of what happened? Not Gary's. Gary's not making this up.
Sam, do you remember we talked about, we had that Artie clip where he questioned the mad terror years later, and we covered that. We said, like, no, you're bullshitting. Your stories don't match up with what Ralph's saying and what you've been saying. And Howard was backpedaling big time.
Plus, over the years, he keeps going back and forth with, I never took a strange woman home. He said that. I never took strange women home. Oh, I never really went out on dates. Oh, I never. So which is it? You were either, perusing for pussy all over the place and fucking everything in sight in your mad terror, or you weren't taking strange women home and this whole thing is a big fucking fantasy.
Yep.
My favorite mad terror mishap was the model who was gorgeous, who he picked up and was taking home, except she used the N-word.
The N-word,
so he had to remove her from the car.
Yes.
Yeah.
She was so crazy. She just turned into a drunk racist that had to go home.
Yeah.
He couldn't fuck that drunk racist, but he could fuck that person after the Metallica concert that just popped into the story at random after gay making out and pants down. for masculinity.
Yeah, after pantsing a bunch of guys that he was at the Metallica concert with, and that's how turned on they were by Fade to Black. But what I love was there's that, and there's also this is the guy who dressed up as a blackface Ted Danson. He has a problem with someone, a woman shouting out the N-word. He made a song. He did Nelly's song. He covered it.
Anyway. His favorite callers used the N-word. I mean, he would have people on just to say it.
Yeah.
So,
we'll play the Beth thing right at the end. I want to play a couple more Ralph character assassination clips. So this is one where Doug gets angry at Ralph. So let me cue it up. Just to set this up, guys, this is the infamous Ralph wanted 3 weeks off in California, ostensibly to go with Sam Simons, but he was a Howard TV employee on the books. So Doug Goodstein's coming in to talk about how he's pissed off about this. He didn't get the okay. No one told him this was all right, and he still hasn't got permission from Howard. But Ralph knows he can do whatever he wants because he has fucking Kompromat on Howard, and Howard doesn't care because he loves tumultuous conversations. Sam?
Parallel this to when Artie needed time off for the movie for Beer League and the shit that he got thrown his way.
He wanted 3 weeks. He needed like 5 weeks or something like that. But he was anyway. Sorry, Ben.
Yeah, and speaking of Doug Goodstein, he actually did volunteer at the World Trade Center.
Yes.
Remember, he took pictures there, I believe, with a camera that was stolen or something like that.
It was like I think it had been like left, it had broken from a store, like fallen out, maybe debris or something. And so he just saw it there, and he said, "Well, I may as well take pictures to."
Right. But he actually did go there.
Yes, he did.
And you think Ralph would bring that up?
Yeah,
he was.
This is like I need to talk to Ralph. I don't want to get into it at all on the air. Ralph is an employee under my budget.
Right.
He doesn't make these rules. This is not for him to tell me he's going away for 3 weeks.
Well, he was trying to get some business.
Every single day of this trip is going to be scheduled by a coordinating producer.
Hey, Doug.
What?
Hey, Doug.
I'm not getting it.
This is a conversation I have with Howard first, and if he was okay with it, then I would have the conversation with you.
But you already have you just admitted you have the agenda all planned. You need 3 weeks. You're not asking.
No.
You're telling us all.
I have the conversation with Howard. If he's okay with it, I have the conversation with you.
So we just went over Hurricane Sandy, where this is when Howard, this quasi-relationship with Howard TV, okay, they're not my employees. You get paid by Howard TV. Those are your bosses. It's separate. But then when it's things like, I want to shit on you for not being in for the hurricane, even though Howard TV told them not to come in, that's when it's, oh, now I'm your boss again. Now I get to shit on you as your boss. Now for this, Howard has no control over Howard TV. So if, say, somebody has a vacation data request off and Howard TV says no because Doug's in control of the budget and Howard TV's in control of these employees, Howard would say, you didn't get it. That's not my problem. You got to ask Howard TV. I'm not your boss. But now Ralph needs time off. He works for Howard TV. And now all of a sudden he gets the okay from Howard. See how that works?
Yep.
Yeah, it is interesting that on demand, Howard TV pays Ralph's salary.
In demand.
On demand.
On demand. Sorry. I get it right.
I don't remember which one it was.
Yeah.
But everybody from Howard TV loses their job except Ralph. So I guess now Sirius pays. Howard pays Ralph. I wonder how that worked out.
And weird that Ralph doesn't have health insurance was the whole thing. So you're paying him this tremendous amount of money for essentially doing nothing, especially during COVID.
We don't know how much he's paying him.
Right. But he's paying him enough to keep, essentially traveling all these years, going on vacations, doing social outings, living in New York City, which isn't cheap. So he must pay him enough to sustain the sort of lifestyle that he kind of wants to.
Well, we're going to go on. We went on about him grifting off of Sam Simon and other people's largesse, to do these things. Stamos flying about, so he never really had to go in pocket for anything. And we have clips of that. So just we'll let this one play out.
And he said business. Did you hear that? He goes, oh, yeah, he's got to go try to get business. When did Howard ever give permission for any of these other guys to go do side projects for business, for their own desires?
Yes. How does Ralph have this carte blanche and no one else does? Food for thought, folks.
Doug, are you okay with it?
No.
All right, there's your answer.
No, you got to play by the rules of everyone else. No one else. I could go away for 3 weeks and pretend it's a work job. It's not the way it works.
Stop it, Doug.
This is New York. There's 4,000 designers in the city.
Doug. Why don't you go back to having no personality?
Why don't you go find a job? Because I swear to God, I'm going to have a very tough conversation with Howard that's going to affect your job. You can't do this.
Oh, shut up.
You play by the rules. You're not like immune to the rules, and you're putting yourself in a different category. It's Ralph's world, Ralph's rules.
Yeah, well, okay. Well,
you'll be talking to HR, and I'm going to talk to Howard.
All right, go talk to HR. Who's that?
Yeah, you wouldn't.
Who's that?
You never had a job, you wouldn't know.
You mean HS?
It's like, Ralph, I mean, I'm totally fair, and I would love to do whatever you...
Where's your baby nurse? Did your wife can't take care of the kid herself?
Ralph, if you make one fucking comment about my kid, I swear I'll strangle your fucking neck, dude.
Now we're talking.
Oh, now he's hitting. Whoa!
Hey,
what
easy,
happened
easy.
there?
Doug's all riled up.
Doug just we get some good Howard TV tonight.
Wow, that was a reaction.
Now, the reason we confirmed that on our 50th episode, Landing the Plane with the Richie Wilson interview, which is totally worth listening to if you haven't heard it yet, Ben. He said that was legit. Like Doug was going to kill Ralph.
I could tell that was legit.
He just had a baby, a newborn, and it was in the hospital with some complications. So he was obviously like, and Ralph clearly knew about that and went after him, cheap low blow like that.
And so it's not just saying a baby nurse, like some rich, person in Beverly Hills or New York City who has a baby nurse right the second they give birth, not because of complications, but because they're rich and they can afford to have a baby nurse at night so their rich parents can get sleep. This kid actually had a problem and needed a baby nurse for actual medical problems. But besides that, Doug at first isn't seeing clearly, like, I'm going to go to HR and this is going to affect your job. He doesn't realize that it's wink, wink, nod, nod, Howard and Ralph. Like, nothing's going to happen to you, bro. Don't worry about it. But you could see that, and all of a sudden, it's a twofold. He realizes that that's happening, that, oh, shit, nothing is going to happen to him, and he brings up the kid. So you see this explosive anger.
Right, which is probably something that he's echoing something that Howard probably already said to him in private. But you listen to that conversation and watching it, it's interesting because the delusional one in that conversation is Doug. Because Doug thinks that gravity applies to Ralph, and it doesn't. That HR means something to Ralph, and it doesn't. Ralph has the let them eat cake attitude of, he's the super elite looking down like, you think gravity applies to me? That's you.
Anybody else in that situation, Ben, would be shitting their pants that my job's on the line here. Like, this is supposedly my boss who runs Howard TV, and they're telling me my job's in jeopardy. But his fuck you attitude is so consistent with the fact that, Doug, you're delusional. Why are you wasting your breath? I can do whatever I want.
They're laughing that Doug thinks that he's as powerful, that he's that powerful.
So this next clip, guys, is one more about Ralph's sense of entitlement. And this is from a previous video that we had.
Anything you ask for, I try to get you. Here's another problem with Ralph.
Yeah.
When Ralph wanted those KISS tickets, this is a typical Ralph move. Listen, he wanted tickets to go see Stone Temple Pilots or some concert.
Go ahead. Help me understand.
I told him to go see Peggy. He went to see Peggy, and he felt it got blown off.
Okay.
But everybody comes to me for tickets, and I can't get people tickets for every show every time.
Right. This ain't your job.
But Ralph comes to me, and it's just this funny attitude that he has. He says, listen, KISS is my favorite band. I really want to see them. I want tickets, and I don't want crummy seats. If I can't have good seats, I don't want to go.
I didn't say
you certainly did.
You interpret, and you do that with everybody.
So why did you bother getting him seats then?
You put a spin on it.
Because I still, deep down inside, I think there's a nice guy hiding in there, and I wanted to help him. I knew that he loved KISS.
Right.
I knew that meant a lot to him.
Right.
I
thought I could pull it off.
And I said, thank you. And Gary, you got me like that really cool Spider-Man
you see what he's saying?
I mean,
Ralph, you see what he's saying though?
What?
Attitude. The way you ask for stuff.
Oh, hey.
Maybe maybe there's something there.
But it's not even asking. He's essentially being the boss's girlfriend and saying, I want this, do this for me. And if it's not good, I'm going to Howard, basically threatening almost. Like, he doesn't ask because he has that elitism attitude about him because he knows because he's the boss's girlfriend. Duh.
You got it. Exactly.
Yeah.
So this is a video, but we're going to play the audio. And this is from Isaiah Cruz. He just sent it to me this morning. And I thought it's a great clip. So here we go.
Telling you right now. God knows what she's doing to keep him happy.
Why is Ralph sleeping?
What do you care? What do you need to hear from him?
Because he wanted to be part of this interview so bad.
It's all right. He could stay out.
Did he really steal money from me, by the way? I heard something about that the night of your wedding.
I don't know.
Well, you guys talked about it.
Yeah, well, this was the thing where somebody says Ralph took the $100 John left on the table that we all picked up the tab for.
What are the details with that? That was never discussed fully on the air, was it? I mean, what happened?
I came to this thing late. There were a whole bunch of people there. People were eating. People were drinking. No. I had one drink, and it cost me $125.
Well, I was there, and then I had to leave. I went to bed early because I had to go on the honeymoon. So I left a couple $100 there, but then I'd heard...
A couple hundred, because everybody said you only left 100.
No, because I had like 3 people, and we ate some food, so I left a couple $100. And then I'd heard that you guys were talking about that he took some of the money. He says he didn't. But.
I don't know anything about it. I wasn't there.
Again, he was caught, and he...
Oh, God, yeah. He doesn't know. He never knows what's going on.
This is a pattern.
Yes, it is. And so everybody remembers from the clips we played of him stealing the money, but this is Sal's take on Ralph.
So this is stealing money from the pot at poker. This is stealing money from the table for the tip for the waitress. And now this is stealing money for John Stamos. This is a regular Ralph thing. And instead of actually being in on the interview, he's now sleeping.
Yes.
And Howard's reaction is not one to be shocked to hear Ralph, his dear friend, is being accused of theft.
No.
Instead, he just laughs. He goes, I don't know. And just laughs about it. Yep. And that's his reaction. It's funny.
Yeah. And also he doesn't want to go further down that rabbit hole, because then people that went the most amazing thing was Artie actually calling him out and saying, you're going to sit there and tell me you don't remember us telling you this. And then he's sitting back like, oh, I remember you guys were there and you were telling me, but I don't remember this happening, of course, washing his hands of it all.
This one's 10 times worse because it's a celebrity, which is our sacred cows to Howard.
Right.
So let's picture a scenario where JD's out to dinner and John Stamos, and JD gets accused of taking John Stamos's money. Howard would have his ass in there in 2 seconds flat. Instead, he's saying, oh, let Ralph sleep through this bit. First of all, what other employee besides Artie to use his addiction as some sort of, piñata constantly on the show? That's the only other employee that got to sleep. The rest of them, could you imagine?
Yeah.
Yeah. Ronnie's not even allowed to make use inappropriate language at a strip club because he's an ambassador for Howard. He's an extension of Howard. This is the closest thing to you. He's a mirror image of you. And he's out stealing from your closest friends. And you have no sit down with him and say, you represent me.
You're a doppelganger.
Not only that, Ben, he didn't even drag him back in there to say, wake him up and let's confront him.
Yeah. Well, he's at home. No one's going to get him unless, Beth runs over to get the stuff. So this is Sal's take on Ralph stealing.
Ross doesn't want to come down here, but I talked to Ross. If he wants to come in, he could, corroborate it because he was there with me. I'm the only one who was there.
What? Ross and you are both stuffing your faces with food. You don't even know what was going on.
But Ralph, you didn't remember. That's funny how you can remember these guys eating, but you can't remember taking money, making a joke out of it.
We're talking about two different incidents.
And then after the so-called joke, you threw it in the pot. You threw it in the pot because you didn't want to get busted and you were trying to deflect from it. You're a thief and a liar and a cheat and a scumbag. Die, you piece of faggot shit.
Well,
you know what?
And this is Ralph's rebuttal.
Go fuck your fucking ugly wife, douchebag. Oh wait, you can't.
I'd rather fuck my wife than Sam Simon out of a trip to Hawaii, you fucking fangola.
Oh.
Sal not really holding back one bit. And so that was just a part of the wrap-up show segment from that day.
This is the second time where rather than address the person, Ralph brings in a family member, which is supposed to be forbidden on the Howard Stern show. That's you. Oh yeah, you don't bring on somebody's family, somebody's kids, etc. Ralph does it.
Yep.
And doesn't get reprimanded for it. And by the way, you could just see, imagine being all of them and having all these strict rules apply to them. Ronnie can't even have Playboy mud flaps on his car without being called out. Right. Richard can't wear an Eagles jersey to a game. He should get a Howard Stern jacket that doesn't exist. And always repping for this. And imagine, but the guy who's his closest friend is pulling crap like this on the regular.
This next one, guys, is from June 19th, 2000. Ralph busted for dealing drugs at Spa.
Oh, yay.
So this big black guy, big, strong black bouncer guy comes up to me and goes,
okay, and of course, Howard, the woke person, has to announce that it's a black guy, and he does an Opie, and he does it like an Amos and Andy voice in a second.
Excuse me. And I go, excuse me. He says, I just have to tell you, your friend who you were with, we had to throw him out of the club for dealing drugs.
What?
Yeah. So I go, wait a second. First of all, I know Ralph.
That's how Ralph makes a living?
So the guy goes, what do you want us to do about it? So I said, well,
arrest him.
I said, first of all, well, if you're giving me some options, what are my options? I go, if one of the options is to let him back in, why don't you just let him back in? He's my friend. And I know him. He's not dealing drugs. And he goes, I beg to differ. We have people who have seen him dealing drugs.
Yeah, how come you always jump up?
Because here's how I know. First of all, I know Ralph was complaining the whole night. He didn't even have pot. Number one.
Yeah, because he had.
That doesn't mean he wasn't dealing something else. What kind of straw man argument is that?
Yeah, and even the order in which Howard, the reasons why you should let him back in. He's my friend. Oh, and I know he doesn't deal drugs.
Right.
And he had to throw that part in. That part wasn't even in question. Of course he was doing it.
Right. We have witnesses, and they look for that in clubs constantly because they don't want to get busted by the cops.
And they don't want to go take a high-profile guy like Howard and take one of his entourage and get rid of him. They're going to be like, wait a minute, let's make sure we're really seeing this.
Yeah.
And just because he doesn't, so because Ralph didn't have pot that night, that doesn't mean he has coke, Molly, ecstasy, ketamine.
Well, that's the technicality.
What difference does it make? So he's missing one of the 5 that he could possibly have. So
he didn't have coke, so he's not a dealer. Meanwhile, he's got a pound of smack under his jeans.
Do you know how much a security guard doesn't want to bring up to a celebrity that their friends are dealing drugs, and it's so obvious that they thank God that they didn't arrest him. I mean, you don't want to have that conversation.
Marijuana would be very detectable in a club. You'd be smelling it. So Ralph's not going to be selling something that when they're going to be signaling that they're using it in the club.
Yep.
Yeah. What is he selling? Loose joints?
Yeah. Edibles were not quite the thing. So let's keep it. It's a little bit more.
Ecstasy.
No, he didn't have ecstasy. He didn't have anything. He was complaining he had no drugs.
I didn't have it. I didn't. No, I wasn't complaining. Remember, I said to you at the house. I said I don't even want to do anything because I didn't want to be all. I had stuff to do the next day. I didn't be all wired and up. And everything.
It doesn't matter if you're sober. You can still be dealing drugs.
No, but he said, I told you I didn't want to do anything that night. I didn't want to be all yipped up or whatever. So that's giving the pretext that Ralph regularly, when he goes out, does drugs. He's usually on something. And by the way, this is the man who was found fallen asleep in front of a radio station by both Robin and Howard. They drove by and saw him sleeping in the street.
But also, it implies that if you're being straight, like pardon the expression, but for the night, it's because you don't want to be screwing up the count when you're taking someone's money. When if you're selling them drugs, you don't want to be like, yeah, that looks like it's the right amount. Here you go, bye.
Yeah. The 10 crack commandments: don't get high on your own supply.
Don't get high on your own supply.
Be responsible.
Yeah, so you can have a few cocktails.
I know he's effed up, but I know he wasn't dealing drugs at the club. So I said to the guy, there's got to be some.
How did this mistake happen?
Oh, wait, I'll tell you. So then I said, So I said to the guy, well, so why are you asking me what to do if you're not going to let him back in? I said, is he under arrest? He goes, no, there's a lot of police out there, but.
There's police activity.
There's a lot of police activity, but he's not going to be arrested.
He's on the ground, but everything.
You're right. So I go, well, okay. And I just sat there. I mean, what am I going to do?
Well, the other thing is they're not going to call the cops necessarily, but they are going to kick him out, and they're going to make sure he doesn't come back in because the club's priority is to the owner, and the owner's going to be the one to say a zero tolerance policy unless because you get that tag on you, and the cops will first of all you'll lose your license and you can't make any money. So it doesn't matter how famous you are. If you're doing some of that shit in a club, you are out.
Mm-hmm.
So put yourself in the situation. You're with your friend, your best friend, who doesn't sell drugs. They come up to you and say, we just kicked your friend out because he was selling drugs. You're ultimately just going to go, okay. You're going to go, my friend doesn't sell drugs. There's a huge misunderstanding here. Let me go out there and talk to whatever. Or I'm not sticking around if my friend just got booted out. Whatever. But Howard just goes, okay.
And he says, what are my options? Like,
yeah,
what do you mean? Did you not just hear me say this? So he doesn't say, no, that's not possible. Yeah. It's not possible because he was looking for pot. I mean, what?
This is the aforementioned Ralph shaving his belly clip. We're going to play a portion of it.
I'll shave you down. Let's go in the backyard. So I'm like, well, the kids are at school. My wife wasn't home.
Do you have neighbors?
No one was around. It was well, no, I put a whole bunch of bushes up and stuff, so it's kind of secluded back.
Okay, so what he's setting up here is the kids are away, the wife is gone. Now we can fuck.
Yeah.
That's what he's really like wanting to say.
Because
and
here's
he's got to dress it up as, oh, he was just shaving my belly. Why do you need to be? Yes, it is a private thing to shave. No one shaves on the seat of the trunk of a car and in front of broad daylight. But this is something that would clearly, if it was real, would get you just as much embarrassment as if you were caught fucking him.
If it was shaving, okay. Yeah. Why do you need your kids and your wife to be away and have seclusion in a backyard if it's just shaving? That's normal. I mean, it's weird that you're so stupid that you can't shave yourself, but let's say it's your back and you can't reach your back. Right. Okay, first of all, why couldn't your wife shave your back for you? Why do you need Ralph? But let's just say you don't want her to do that for you or she doesn't want to do it. I mean, limitless excuses, fine. Again, why does that have to be private where you need bushes, your kid's not home, your wife's not home in order to shave your back?
Forget about it. Why can't he go to a clinic? He's got money coming out of the walls that he could go to an esthetician and say, get rid of this for me. If he can go grooming, he doesn't have to admit to it.
And how much hair are we talking about here that he's like, well, you don't want to get hair on the bathroom floor. No. I mean, there's not very much hair you're talking about.
If it was
he's Italian. Italians are known to be very hairy.
Very hirsute.
There and everything was cool.
I think it was on a patio. You had like a patio out there or something.
It was a deck, like a wooden deck. Yeah. So it was a nice deck. And I figured, well, all the hairs will fall right out onto the ground and blow away. Right. So
I hope no helicopters or planes flew over.
No, very secluded. And I had a gate, so nobody could accidentally get in.
What?
The only person around, there was a guy that I met who was a contractor, very masculine guy. He served in the military. He's a Southern.
This is just getting gayer and gayer. Now it sounds like a scenario. There's this guy that I met. He was in the military. He's a contractor. He came. He walked in on us. Him shaving me. Like the only thing you're missing is the that music that comes from gay porn back in the day.
Is he about to say that the contractor was there to work?
Yeah, I guess.
So why would there's a guy that I met that's a contractor. Why wouldn't you say I hired a contractor to do this?
Right.
And so he showed up. There's a guy that I met. That's such a weird way of putting it.
He loves this voyeuristic angle. Like it's part of his little fetish thing, I think.
Well, but this is also another guy that he met that has some quasi-military angle. He's always meeting these SEAL Team 6s and these FBI agents and these fucking, these military. He's always sitting next to on a plane some military guy, or I talk to some FBI agent.
Right.
No.
Yeah.
Boy, older gentleman, and he was advising me. I was doing a construction job on my house. You should
also say that guy was there a lot off and on, so nobody really remembers he's there,
Yeah, like he had the keys to my house. He was there all the time because they were constantly doing this work. They were trying to, while we were living there, they were doing all this work. And he was.
So Howard, who doesn't trust anybody, has given the keys to some contractor to come into his house.
Yeah. To a guy that he met.
Yeah, military.
Even if that were true, why is one guy? A construction job usually takes a crew. And if you're talking about some construction job with Howard Stern's house, what are you kidding me? You're just hiring some one random out-of-work military guy who decided to start doing construction?
Right.
I just don't buy any of this.
It's nonsense.
He's my expert on, all things manly and how to build this house, and he was advising me, and he was there every day. And he was a nice guy, real salt of the earth, married 30-something years, just
normal,
the whole thing.
Why does this matter?
I never knew where he was at. So I go in the backyard. Ralph's in his short shorts, and I think it was summer, so he had his shirt off.
Did he have his shirt off too?
Yeah. And, Ralph has a shirt, and he goes, all right, I'm going to start shaving by your belly. I'm just going to take it down a little bit. So he gets on his knees.
Was it really?
Yeah, he got on his. It was that bad. He gets on his knees, and he's got this big clippers, like electric clippers, which he plugged in outside, and he starts to he's on his knees, like showing me how to shave. I go, Ralph, I need to see what you're doing, so I'm looking down.
Okay, I'm guaranteeing if there were clippers involved, it was because Ralph's like, I don't want to blow you when your bush is this big, so let me shave you real quick before we start getting to the good part. And why does Howard need to see first of all, looking down at your stomach and shaving it's not like he can't see it. I where is the visual being blocked? And why can't you do it yourself?
Right.
Your arms are so long.
No, he needs to look down to see him blowing him.
What is he making it into a heart shape or a triangle and you don't know what a shape is? I don't get it.
Yeah. So
I can learn how to shave my hairs.
Oh, my God.
Like in the middle of the lower portion of my belly, I look up, and I don't want to say the guy's name, the very masculine Southern guy who served in the military for years.
What the fuck is going on here?
He just goes, oh. He goes like this. He goes,
I just found out something I don't want to know.
Yeah, he just goes, oh, I'm sorry. And I went, no. Now I'm like, I think he thinks Ralph's blowing me.
Yeah, it was the worst because he acted like he walked into, something.
Like he walked into Brokeback Mountain.
Well, clearly that's exactly what happened. And you guys are trying to make a joke of it like Three's Company, but that isn't how it's coming off.
No, you're not Jack Tripper in this whatsoever. How can you mistake shaving for blowing? Wouldn't the clippers be making a sound? Wouldn't you have your pants on? There would have to be some sort of dip out.
I think that the clippers were a vibrator, and that's what he rewrote it. No. This was clippers.
Yeah.
You know how you can't clip a fine hair like this indoors. You got to do it outside.
And you can't shave someone else's chest unless your shirt is off as well.
And by the way, this whole Southern military construction worker, which I cannot believe this is the stupid story he painted, where now he knows how many years this guy's been married. Howard's interested in nobody's life.
Yeah.
He is
I think
interested.
This is all.
But if you asked him, he's interviewed people over and over again through the years, and he remembers nothing, even about famous people. But somehow he has this guy's autobiography right off the tip of his tongue. This is where Emily or Deborah or Ashley caught him Ralph blowing him in the backyard. And I guarantee it.
Yeah, or through the doggy door in the vault that they can get
yeah.
through.
So this is the same encounter that his daughters walked in and saw this next, or again they're doing it and again they get caught.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think he's doing comedy license when he just goes on and to enforce how normal and heterosexual and salt of the earth this man is.
Okay, Ralph never pays.
Then another great thing happens when it's when it's time to pay the bill. Of course, like Howard immediately, he always goes to pay, and Gary makes a move, I make a move. Ralph is like a wax figure.
His hands suddenly find the bottom of the table.
It's not even an option.
Right. You just know that's not going to happen.
Well, Ralph's not going to pay.
First of all, that's so not true. Second of all, I brought a bunch of cash so I could pay for the bill too, and you already had it.
No, I'm busting your chops. I didn't notice a lot of movement.
Nobody, Ralph, in all honesty, nobody looks at you like the bill's going to be paid.
Yeah.
That's such a great characteristic you could tell about your friend.
I know, such a wonderful friend who steals too on top of not paying.
No kidding.
Think about this though. Every time Ralph, so everybody knows this about Ralph not being able to pay. So when Howard's essentially bringing his girlfriend and they do these outings, it's almost a burden too to everybody else because they know this fucking schmuck has to get covered too. Like no matter where he goes in Howard, whether it's on vacation or casino or dinner, Ralph is going to have to be covered too by everybody if we're all splitting things.
Yep. This next one real quick. Ralph tells Bubba's wife to fuck off.
New Yorkers know.
Yeah.
Cash is king.
Yeah.
That's what couples need. They want money.
Yeah.
I don't care how rich they are, how poor they want money. That's what people need.
You guys were the only group of people that collectively as a group gave us. And N was the most generous, too. Thank you.
Goddamn
very
right
much.
we are.
But Ralph gave you a candle?
I'm just being mean to Ralph because he was...
It's probably one that he used up his ass the night before.
She was so mean about
Yeah,
it.
you'll be able to remember Ralph if you have a blackout.
Bubba, did the candle smell like ass?
I didn't even look at it. She handled the gift deal.
It's an ass candle.
All right, go ahead, Robin, please.
They have earwax candles. They have also ass poop candles.
Wow.
Underworld.
What are they
Ralph,
doing?
you're on the air. Go ahead.
Hey, Heather, fuck you, man. You know, I was going to say thanks for the nice thank you note, but, you know, I spent all this fucking money flying out there. I bought a new suit for that, and you give me that fucking bullshit?
Hold on, Ralph. First of all, first of all, Ralph cocksucker, let me tell you something.
No,
you RSVP'd the last day. First of all, you didn't want to come, and then when you knew Howard was coming, you came, and
That's bullshit.
No,
That's
you know
bullshit.
it's bullshit, Ralph. Work with me. Come on. Why you gotta be such a fuck?
When you guys invited me first, I said, yeah, I'm definitely coming. I had this conversation with you when you first sent me the invitation, and I was ready to come. And when Howard and everyone was coming, then it got all complicated. That's when I was like, well, I'm not sure because this and that.
So you're confirming, basically, you didn't give an RSVP. You came at the last minute.
Probably under Howard's orders too. Like I want you to come. And then they probably had to work something out with, I could just see it now, like him and Ralph having a conversation like, no, I want you there. And Ralph not wanting to go. And then Howard saying, come on, please.
Yeah, and this was prefaced by how Ralph criticizing Heather's shoes or something like that, and you know it was her throwing a little shade back at him. She didn't start anything.
You gave the shittiest gift. You gave the shittiest gift.
You just gave a bad gift.
You were
It
dressed.
wasn't a candle either.
You look like Danny Terrio from the 70s in that getup you're wearing.
All right, well, fine. You know what? Fuck you, you fat fuck, and fuck your wife, too.
Oh, that's fucking fighting words where I come from. When somebody tells you to.
You furry-face queer!
Bullshit. If you say fuck your wife, what does she have to do with it?
I don't know.
You fucking scumbag asshole.
Oh, man. Wait, hey, Fred, you're a man's man. What if I said, hey, Fred, we're in character right now. Fuck your wife.
Oh.
That's fucking where I come from.
You'd ripping his balls off and feeding it.
That's fighting fucking words right there where I come from.
Yeah, Fred's all man as well. He's been abused for 25, 30 years, and he's done nothing about it.
But look at all of them. It's fighting words for all of them, except for when it comes to one person who can get away with basically saying this to everybody at any point in time, and nothing will come of it for him.
Okay, guys, another short clip. This is Ralph using the N-word in studio with the King of All Blacks.
Yeah, but Howard, wait a minute.
Do you have any money in the bank? You just spend it on everything.
Now I got money in the bank. What kind of rich? You're complimenting him. Ralph, what kind of rich?
His dad is wealthy.
What, nigger rich?
Wealthy.
Oh, hey. Where are we at here?
Artie asked me a question.
I was saying, what kind of rich do you think he is, Ralph?
Yeah, but that's
It's a retort. It's a retort. Really? I'm not.
So, like, already clearly fishing for the N-word in the Ralph pond and coming up with a Whopper. Yeah. So that was just a, you know, and that was normal back in those days. And the last clip before we go into the Beth thing is Ralph getting knocked out at scores. And I mean, like, it just gets worse and worse.
Hey, listen, before you do your comedy routine, let's talk about what happened to you at Scores. Do the story, you know, what really happened. You were out, let me bring people up to speed. You were out drinking.
I was out drinking since like 6 o'clock, and I hadn't eaten all day. So,
all right.
And I was drinking at various spots.
And you were really wasted.
Yeah, pretty wasted. Yeah.
You go over to Scores. Now, how do you end up sitting next to some dude?
I wasn't. No, I was up top in the champagne room.
Right.
The worst part of the story is that I was actually paying for dances.
Okay.
And
So I got up to go to the bathroom or go do some shots with Big John, something like that. You know, there's a little back bar that's behind everything.
Right.
You know, a little side bar there. I get up and go over there, and we're sort of just, I don't know, like goofing. Everybody's kind of bombed, you know, and we're just kind of goofing around, like horsing around, like John's pushing me and I'm pushing him back, and I don't know. I'm not really clear on why I like kind of hit this guy. But like he pushed me from the back or something like that, and I just kind of swung around and jokingly.
Would you, if anybody was on the stand like this, they'd get destroyed by the opposing lawyer in cross-examination. This is just awful stuff. So I'm just going to play a minute of his version, and then the guy that called in who did it, and he's as straightforward as anybody you could imagine.
Kind of like, you know, like pretended to hit him, but I kind of hit his face a little bit or something.
You pulled your punch, though.
Yeah.
All right.
Totally pulled my punch. But I could feel like, I might have done that a little bit too,
Too hard?
Too close, too hard. So then he hit me like in the stomach, and he hit me kind of hard, so it was like, okay. He was kind of letting me know, hey, dummy,
Back off, yeah.
Yeah, so I did. So I don't remember what happened after that.
Wait a second.
Okay, so there's that. Now I'm going to wait you to get the last bit where the guy calls in.
I said, no, Chuck had nothing to do with it.
That's pretty drunk, though, Ralph, that you really don't know what happened to you.
Lonnie, you got the best place, man.
Ralph. It was still fun, though. It's like, I'll go back tomorrow. It's fun.
Yeah, I know.
How's your face now?
The swelling has gone down a lot, but you know what? It's still a little swollen. I mean, he like the side of my head, like he hit me pretty good.
He must have really clocked you.
But I didn't even go down though. I was,
Good for you.
He hit like a girl.
Irish John, you're on the air.
Hey, Howard, it's Irish John. Listen, I went to a couple of Silent Live parties, and Ralph was there, and he comes off the wrong way. Can I say the word douchebag?
Right.
I say the word douchebag.
Ralph's a great guy, but he just comes off the wrong way, especially with a few drinks in him.
Right. Who's the guy? There's a guy on the phone who claims he's the guy who hit Ralph.
Yeah,
So if he's a great guy, why is he coming off like a douchebag? To me, that's the opposite thing you should be saying.
And I think that Scores is the perfect example of a front for their heterosexuality, where they could go there all the time, where you think there's these gaggles of women, except for there's these private rooms that they can go in any time and do whatever the fuck they want, not involving women.
Yep.
Yeah, you forget that there are two variables there. There's, in this case of Scores, half naked women. There's also horny men. So there might not necessarily be fully straight if they're the Metallica concert going type. But I'm wondering, why did Ralph stop going to strip clubs all the time? He used to be a fixture of strip clubs. Mm-hmm. We know Howard evolved, but why did Ralph evolve?
Yep.
That's a great
What's his name?
His name's Rick Roloff.
Rick, yeah, that's him. Let me go pick him up. Hold on.
Let's really see what happened.
Hey, Rick.
Yeah, it's me.
Hey, what happened?
What happened, Rick? Remind me. Ralphie took a little walk to the bathroom, and then he came back, and I tell you the truth, I don't even know him, And he came back to the bathroom and shoved me, like a little nudge on the shoulder.
Right.
And then I looked over to him, and he pops me in the face.
Wow.
No,
and
this
then
isn't the guy.
Then I looked back at him. I said, you know what? You did the wrong thing. And then he looked back at me, and I gave him a little sock to the stomach.
Right.
He goes down, like a little over, leans over a little bit.
No, this is the guy, Rick, Ralph. This is really the guy.
I don't think, because this isn't what happened.
You don't know what happened.
Big John, this is Rick, right?
That is absolutely my friend, Rick. I promise you that.
All right.
And then he goes down, he bends over a little bit, turns around, looks up to me, and goes, go F yourself.
Right.
Oh, go F yourself. Okay. Pop, a little left hook to the jaw. He goes down.
But I didn't go down. I mean, this is...
You didn't go down. My friend, you didn't go down. Tommy Gunn picked you up. You can go ex Tommy Gunn. You went down, and you're lucky you didn't get knocked out, because I was only holding back because Big John's my best friend.
So, yeah. I mean, this is, again, when in that situation, you're drunk, you could be doing anything. It's clear like there's a pattern of him just being an obnoxious, entitled piece of shit and then getting the treatment like if it wasn't for Howard, I struggle to imagine how he would be still alive at this point, being that way with so many people in so many different situations. Most people I know who have acted like that have gotten serious hospital time because of their big mouth. And the last clip, guys, came from the following day, in which he kind of explains exactly why, but exactly as Raven theorized, that Beth had to haul ass to that apartment to collect whatever they mentioned. Whatever would be embarrassing to Ralph, but no, we all know it was Kompromat. They were looking desperately for stuff that would incriminate Howard, whether it was him getting drugs in there or something. They just wanted to clear the place of something immediate, because even if it wasn't gay stuff, even if it was like drug paraphernalia, that would have been embarrassing for Howard, being connected to him as a stylist, employer relationship. Sam?
This story reminded me a lot of the one that's been told about Kim Porter's death, P. Diddy's ex-wife or ex-girlfriend, baby mama. She supposedly died of pneumonia, even though that's not what it was ruled originally. It was ruled as possible homicide. And then they switched corners. Then it got ruled as pneumonia, even though there was blood on the scene, and all of her laptops were missing. All of her computers were missing. And apparently she was writing a tell-all book. Albie Shore, shortly after, suddenly got into a coma from a car accident. He didn't pass away, but that was her ex-husband, who hates Puff Daddy, and they were both legit terrified of him. Mm-hmm. And he said on an Instagram Live that he had her done with or whatever, but that she was writing it, and that basically they ransacked the apartment and took everything they possibly could of hers, electronics and stuff.
I believe it.
So I think Beth's doing something similar.
Yeah, I know we're only going to play a quick clip of this, but the premise that Beth had to rush over there to save Ralph from embarrassment embarrassed by what the movers might find. Now, they haven't even hired movers at this point. He just died.
Yep.
What movers is she racing against? Who? Nobody. So there's this imaginary thing of movers are on their way. Second of all, Beth has never even been to Ralph's house. She didn't even know he has toys. She was startled by the Muppets thing, and he's got. She has no awareness of where anything is. So the premise that she's going there to get valuables, she doesn't even know what's valuable because he has toys, and she has no idea what one makes one valuable and one not valuable. So the premise of it is all just very suspicious.
And why are you guys taking it upon yourself to remove things that you think are embarrassing, but the family, it doesn't seem to be embarrassed by it? Like, did the family bring this up to you that we're worried about what movers might find? So are they going in there to do? I mean, this doesn't make any sense. I mean, and at any level to me, like, wouldn't it be if it was somebody who was worried about something like that, shouldn't it be the family?
Well, the question raised by people in the QF Facebook group was that, first of all, even if Howard was the owner of the property and it was his, technically, we don't know, but even if he did, that still wouldn't give him the right to ransack someone's apartment, to go in there. Even if the family gave him permission, how do you know that the family gave him permission? We don't know. That would be, you have to give a tenant something like 60 days to clear out. I can't remember exactly how it works, or 30 days to clear out. I'm not sure how it works. And the other thing is, it sounds more like to me like we're going to pay the family. We're going to take care of them, quote unquote, to get the stuff out of there that we think we need. So she was there with two other people. She claimed one was the neighbor. Again, we don't know. We never heard of these people. It sounded like she went there with SEAL Team 79 and went to Bleach. They went to Jeff Schick and SIM card his fucking laptop and looking through his cloud and to get his passwords or whatever. And they went on a massive hunt to try to find anything they could that would get the Howard in trouble. Fuck whatever Ralph's problem. If he had a scales there with white powder, they would have left it there. They didn't give a fuck.
Yeah,
or planted it there.
Yeah.
Right.
Who knows what they planted on top of everything else?
Yeah.
But there's the idea of calling the family and saying, I'd like to go and help clear it out. how does 4 a.m. sound? You couldn't wait a little bit later. It's the movers are not on their way. This just happened.
Right. He claimed 97 miles from their place to New Jersey, where Ralph's house was, and that the place was like his bed wasn't made. That means no one's been there.
Yes,
presumably.
This is the early bird gets the worm. They have to be there first.
Yes. So no one of sane, like no one of like sound mind and body would believe for a second that this wasn't some kind of like Kompromat retrieval move.
Well, of course. And I think that Beth and Howard probably coordinated with the family about if things are going to be removed there, what time are they going to be removed? They find the time and they have to beat them to the time, because why would Howard and Beth be scheduling movers for Ralph either? It would not be their job to do anything like that. And I don't even think it is. I don't even know if anything was scheduled, but just even if the family were to get there first, that's another issue too, like depending on which family gets there first. I mean, there's all sorts of things. It's like Beth Donovan. If anybody watched Ray Donovan, he was the Hollywood fixer who you call in the middle of the night and he shows up and fixes the problem. If oops, I killed a hooker, or oops,
it's Pulp Fiction with Winston Horse. I think that the only I'm gonna play the clip and then I'm gonna ask both of you a question, and I want you to in serious manner.
Okay.
Honey, do you want to come? Some of the listeners are requesting you come on the air and say happy holidays to them.
Who is requesting this?
Nobody.
No, come on down. Okay. When she says she looks terrible, believe me.
Yeah, I have yet to see that.
Yeah.
The same old. She gets
I haven't seen her look
every
terrible.
time like this.
Yeah.
But and I sit and go, well, if she thinks she looks terrible, what happens when she looks at me?
Oh, here you go again, turning it around.
Yeah, of course. What else would I do?
No, not of course.
Well, how am I supposed to stop turning it around?
Detriment, she doesn't.
Detriment.
What?
Yeah. Well, I guess she has her. She got it wrong, but he said. Now imagine Howard's correcting your vocabulary of all people. Guy who says cashews. Sorry.
Cashews.
Yeah.
Whatever I said.
You know what? We've been on the air too long.
Too long.
I mean, this is a long show, and we didn't even take. I think we took one break.
It's to your detriment to turn it around because she's not looking at you the way you look at you.
Hey, love. Do you want to first of all tell
sit down?
Yeah.
I haven't eaten.
You haven't eaten. She never eats. Good for you, honey. I wish I never ate.
Hi, Robin.
I'm eating so much.
Christmas green.
Okay. So this whole thing is starting off so wackadoodle. They're trying to play the same script that they always play, of course. Like Beth's so beautiful, but she feels so ugly. But look at me, this whole stupid spiel that they always do.
It's awful.
But this is supposedly the saddest time of your life because Ralph just passed away. And I noticed no different. It's like, here's the script that we always have. Beth's coming down. She's lightheaded, didn't eat, whatever. I mean, this is bizarre. Like, I'm so uncomfortable.
Yeah, it's shitty scripted.
This is them because they can sigh. They're relieved now.
I was going.
Yeah, we don't have anything to worry about now, so we can joke and laugh and whatever.
Yep.
It feels like they're elated. Like, oh, let's talk about this.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Got everything.
Yeah, this is how we're going. I got no fucking lime. You deal with this.
And even though Howard always says Ralph is trustworthy and Ralph is loyal, and those are the qualities that he, always points out about Ralph, which is strange, which we already addressed. I think in the back of his head, he knows he has to take care of this person for the rest of his life because of those secrets. So there's always going to be some tie to that. No matter how rich he is, it is a burden in some way. Now, if Ralph gets in a situation, depending on how he led his life, whether it be with drugs or the people he was with, or say he got into some sort of compromising issue in his own life, and it came down to it, there is still a shred of a possibility Ralph could have sold out Howard a decade down the road, 20 years down the road.
Yeah.
That loyalty isn't a guarantee.
No,
So
it is not.
I have to imagine some of this elation is coming too from the fact that that burden in that little shred of worry is now gone.
Well, that's the question. That's part of the question I'm going to ask when we wrap this up.
Yes, I was doing that today. Thank you for
I love
noticing.
it. Oh my gosh, of course.
How are you, my love?
Hi.
By the way, I was telling.
I look terrible.
No, you don't. You look beautiful. I look terrible. I was
Okay.
telling Robin, I got titty this morning before.
I hate when he says that.
You're the one who taught.
So do we.
Why do he's talking about getting titty? What does that even mean? Like, what is it, a cow udder that you just decided to suck on for a second? Like, that's bizarre.
Yeah, she painted a penis on it.
Me that word. I never used the word titty in my life.
Let me see some titty.
Who taught
Let
me
me touch
that?
your titty.
You let
What
me?
do I say?
You-
No.
No, but you did let me touch it this
Today
morning.
was a
Today
day
was
I let you
special.
touch titty.
Yeah, quack quack. I got.
Oh, by the way, I listened. I was listening this morning, and because I wanted to hear Pat Monahan.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wasn't
I
it
was
beautiful?
upstairs.
And no, guys, we're not going to play the song. Maybe we'll do it for the next breakdown because because of we fast track this, the breakdowns are going to go like you're going to go back in time again. But that happens, unfortunately. When this is a situation, we have to fast track the newest stuff first and then work our way back a little bit. But we'll save that for another time. Which everybody is just god awful, like Ben mentioned.
It's the
really,
guy,
really
the guy
awful.
from Train, guy from Train singing the song that Fred wrote about Ralph.
Yeah, I suppose
weird.
I suppose that Stained weren't available.
In tears, and then Robin must have had the same reaction as I did because I was so moved by that.
Beth, meanwhile, saw Ralph last night in our fireplace.
Yes,
She did.
I did.
Yeah, she's like Sal now. She's contacting
No,
the dead.
no, no, no,
What?
no.
Tell everyone. It was.
In
It
the
looked like
flame.
him.
It looked like him.
We have a picture of it. It looks like him.
And I saw
Yeah.
it, and he was on my mind so much yesterday because of his love for Christmas. We shared our love for Christmas, and I was decorating, and so Ralph, I was thinking, I don't like that music. Whoever's doing that,
That's Fred.
not
Fred, knock
kind.
it off.
This
Just
is
like
serious.
whack whack. Yeah.
Oh, now she gets to tell everybody what's serious. What the fuck?
I love that Fred just takes his hand away from the keyboard.
Yeah.
Like the coward that he is. He doesn't go one more time just to show you who you're talking to. He immediately withdraws.
Or play a Gilbert laugh, maybe.
You got a little glimpse there of that Beth. It reminded me of when she pulled away the puppy from that assistant.
That volunteer.
And you
Yeah.
got that little glimpse of that dirty look she gave her.
Yes.
It was ever so slight, but that just, I don't like that. Stop that. Who's ever doing it? Who has played sound effects for the last 40 years? It's Fred.
She's no
it's
idea.
Fred.
Yep.
And I also
he was
love
on
that sorry to cut you off, but that Ralph visited Beth in his death. The ghost of Ralph shows up to visit the woman who didn't even know he collected toys. That's how little she knew about him.
Exactly. And I like these generic statements like we both shared a love for Christmas. Who doesn't love Christmas? I mean, very few people
I
don't
hate
love
it.
Christmas. But you know what I
I
mean?
hate
Like
it now as an adult.
it's saying like, oh, we both shared a love for Christmas. That's like saying we both shared a love of strawberries. Who doesn't love strawberries? It's like so stupid.
Well, she's married to Ebenezer Splooge, so let's.
My mind, especially at that moment. And I'm like, here's Walter, almost 18 years old. I'm thinking of death, and it's just overwhelming. And Ralph was in the photo. Robin, I'll send it to you.
Wow. Oh my.
And maybe you won't see what I saw, but
I don't know if it's on her Instagram. If she claimed to have taken this picture, has anyone seen it yet? I haven't looked.
I'm blocked from Beth, so I can't look at it. I'll have to like go on Rick's Instagram to see. So she brings the cat, Death, Walter, 18 years old. And I was just thinking about death. So she has to bring it back to herself when it's an actual human being that died. That is your husband's best friend that you care about so much. But yet we also have to fit in a Walter anecdote in there.
John Stamos was at a film festival the weekend following Ralph's death, talking about Ralph's death to the crowd, and a butterfly flew by, and he commented that was Ralph. So we got Stamos seeing Ralph in butterflies, Beth seeing Ralph in the fireplace, and Robin and Howard sitting there acting like, oh, that's so wild. That's so nice. I mean, they drop all of their judgment when it comes to untouchables.
Yep.
Celebrities, Beth. I mean, if this was Sal saying this stuff, he would be mocked relentlessly. And Fred would keep on playing that music.
Right.
But again,
sorry.
Stamos saying this too, by the way, and having all of these, I don't know, tributes to Ralph Cirilla to me is more indication of the tight bond of the Pink Mafia. Like we have to keep together, guys. That our secret holder is gone. So let's, do all together now. We have to pay these tributes. We have to make up these fake butterfly and fire stories and Instagram tributes. So crazy.
Stamos incidentally needed a bit of booze and coke to get him through the weekend, because not only did Ralph die, but one of the Beach Boys since the 80s died. And so he posted that on Instagram. And if I showed you some of the things that Raven and I have shared, it's clearly a little going on. And definitely he's drunk. He's fucked up a little bit on this red carpet thing for Willy Wonka or something like that. He's clearly on something, because it's very odd, and he's super fidgety. He can't stop touching things. He's, it's just not normal behavior. One of the lines came out. What's that?
They're remaking Willy Wonka again?
I believe so, yeah. But I don't know what this was. It might have been it might have been something like a live action Willy Wonka thing, or I can't remember what it was, but it looked like
Hollywood,
like some kind of Disney theme park thing or something.
They have lost so much creativity that they just keep remaking old shit. It's so annoying.
Yep.
You saw it, or are you pretending you saw it?
Do me a favor, don't send Robin the picture.
Oh, geez.
Okay. But
Okay. Can I tell the story of when I was at his apartment?
Which story?
Now, no, I dare anyone to tell me that wasn't him, like scared as fuck. Just like, what is she going to screw up? Because this is Beth we're talking about, and he knows she's a complete dipshit as much as he is. So what is she going to screw up about this that I'm afraid of? And why would you have anything to be afraid of? And why would you have that tone of voice if you had nothing to worry about? Ben?
Yeah, what stories could there be? Because he says which story, and he says it very clearly, like there's no humor involved with it. Beth knows he wasn't kidding.
He's as serious. He's as serious as fake cancer.
I mean, there's dead air. Which story?
Guys,
like she's going to say, the one about the gay photos of you. Can I tell that story?
Guys, this is so Ed Bradley saying, how did you guys meet? Honey, should I tell the story? Oh, no, let me. Yeah. And then this is Ed Bradley moment.
Oh, he does it. He does it
now.
Here. He takes over the scene setting.
Yep.
Box above. The box.
Oh yeah, okay.
Just in
yeah. By the way,
sweet Ralph
the reason Beth wasn't on the air the morning Ralph died, she ran over to his apartment with
ran over, not went over, ran over. Man, meaning hauled fucking ass.
Yeah.
And I don't, if she couldn't get it there by chopper, which I'm sure was impossible in that area. It's not the problem is on Ralph's end, not Howard's end, because they have a heliport where they are in the Hamptons. So yeah.
In the last 2 years, Howard grills Beth anytime she leaves the house. She doesn't run anywhere. Did you wear your mask? Do you got your EpiPen? Where are you going? When are you coming back? Who are you interacting with? I don't want to get COVID. He drives her up a wall to leave that house. It is fucking torture for her to do anything. But now, all of a sudden, she's running out of the house, no questions asked.
Right, to go to Captain AZT's fucking apartment. Sure, okay, fine. Yeah. I mean, yeah, but that's fine.
His valuables for his mom and his sister.
Yeah, okay. Which, by the way, thank you.
So I was with his wonderful neighbor / really close friends, Steffi and Martin, who were with me, and we were going through things. It was very emotional. It was difficult because he was obviously just there and then he wasn't. And it was just, his bed was unmade. And it was just,
The other thing is, where's the family at this point, and why do people have to root through his things? It's not like he's paying rent daily, and if someone doesn't go down there to set things right, there's going to be a whole hit squad down there. Like, we know you got the Al Capone. It's like Geraldo opening up Al Capone's vault.
Yeah.
Why is Beth going through valuables? Like, are they auctioning it off at Christie's or something? I mean, this makes no sense.
Well, she mentions later on in the clip that we're thinking maybe, sell his action figures to make money for the family. If you're taking care of Ralph, one presupposes you're taking care of his family. And first of all, we know they must be taking care of the family on some level, because how do they get the permission to go and do this? I don't buy it for a second that there's not some kind of compromat. Anyway, that's part of the question. I was going to ask you, how much of you guys, what percentage do you guys think that Ralph has something out there in a safety deposit box, or that his sister has, or in the cloud that they can't access no matter what Jeff Schick shit they try, that it's going to, how much do you think that he was careful enough to keep something somewhere?
Ralph's a collector.
Yeah.
That's first and foremost. He's a collector. He's nostalgic for things. He cares about things like that. I guarantee you their life together in these last 30 plus years, he has pictures, he has home movies, he has memory boxes, probably scrapbooks. There's something about Ralph that, unlike Howard, who doesn't care about anything except for when his mom's going to throw it out, then all of a sudden he cares.
But collects his own bullshit.
Right. He has.
You think there's some storage unit somewhere in New Jersey that's going to go unpaid and auctioned off at some point, and then suddenly all these boxes of Polaroids?
Yep.
Just like
Paris
that would be Hilton's, nice. I'd pray. Pray.
Yeah.
Very hard. And so it was a couple hours in. We're all three of us are exhausted. And I'm in his bedroom, and I see a box right above the shelf of his bed, and it says...
So, first of all, you're exhausted. What the hell are you doing? You're right. To be exhausted, it means you were searching for shit.
You were moving at a fast speed and lifting heavy things. So, like, you're looking under mattresses, that
floorboards. I'm not joking. Pulling it apart, like taking the refrigerator apart. They would have like been there with a fucking like electrician set, pulling things apart, light fixtures, false walls,
air vents.
You better believe it. In the mattress, under the bed.
Yeah,
you name it. Because I mean, they're looking for traditional Kompromat, but Ralph was a tech guy. You don't think he has like 20 Google Gmail accounts with Flash, like stuff that they can't get at? I'm certain of it.
For them to be exhausted when you're supposedly at the same time having these moments of, let's this is so serious. It sounded at first like they're going through these things slowly and just kind of taking the moment in. Ralph's not here. His two his two friends, neighbors, whatever, are there. Now it sounds like they were ripping apart this place, searching for something that they couldn't find.
Yep.
Because actual movers probably wouldn't call themselves exhausted from 3 hours of work.
And by the way,
they weren't actually moving things at this point.
No.
It would make sense if they were saying we were trying to pack up boxes. We were trying to put away the apartment because it's going to be sold or something. I don't know. But they're not doing anything. They're looking for something. How do you, when you're looking for things, but it's not anything in particular, you're just kind of seeing what he has.
There's
and
two
maybe
things.
Putting it to the side.
There's
That's
only
not
two
exhausting.
ways. There's 3 ways you could be exhausted. One, if you were packing stuff up and for removal. A. B. Body disposal. And you had to like take care of the body parts on the premises. And C, looking for something specific, documents, anything, whatever, right? Like everything. You know what I'm talking about? And so looking for SD drives, hard drive, micro SD, USBs, everything. Because he was like I said, Ralph was a tech guy. Who knows how many fucking Star Wars figures have little micro USBs in them that Howard's not going to find.
And I'll add to that you're not just doing that, but you're doing it under high stress.
Yes.
So it becomes even more physically exhausting because you're doing it.
You know how Ralph had like things that he had to do for Howard sometimes, like to-do lists? Like I wonder if he also did things for Beth. I wonder if he kept like a log of the things he had to do for them.
A ledger.
And that was another thing. Like, what if it's medication lists and it's all these weird things that they do? Or I just can imagine that. What if it's these to-do lists maybe say stuff on it as well?
Yep.
Christmas. And I'm like, oh boy, we haven't come across any like naughty boxes or anything that that everybody has something personal that they would never want anybody to see. And I'm
Beth
thinking,
wanted to clear out anything that might be embarrassing for Ralph, and yet there really wasn't any.
And why?
Beth is the one that brings us up, and Raven asked, "What the fuck is that?" I looked it up. Naughty box is basically like your box of like sex aids and stuff like that, like dildos and whatnot, and whatever else, like lotions and edible panties and shit.
But we're talking about the Howard Stern show. They openly said they used to take porn home, like DVDs.
Yeah,
so who cares? They have already talked
Ralph's
about all the
mom has
naughty stuff.
Ralph's mom has known since he was a teenager that he loved Howard Stern and that he's worked with Howard Stern, and that would just be part of it.
Yep.
They used to take Glombox stuff home all the time of like edible underwear and fucking gag gifts and sex toys and whatever. So who cares?
And apparently shampoo from the movie company.
Mm-hmm. Miss, right above the bed where you could reach it if you're on your tippy toes, if you're standing on his bed. And I'm staring at that box. I'm like, I do not want to look at them in that box for the life of me. I know that there's something weird in there. So it's the end of the day, and I said, I'm going to go into that box because God forbid the movers come and there's something really weird in there. So I go.
This is so like insanely.
Movers don't go through your boxes. They're not supposed to. Anyway.
No.
Listen to how high and tight her voice sounds too when she's telling this story. It sounds like almost a hostage video. The way her voice is sounding so stressed, and so you're going through valuables, but now you're searching for something, so you don't see the box unless you have to go on something high. So why are you going on something high to look for something else? If there's no more valuables to go through, why are you standing on your tippy toes looking for a box at the top of the closet?
Right. It's real. Like she's it's like she's putting her hand up the chimney looking for the package.
Yeah.
You know what
She
I mean?
is.
Like, one of Santa's lost, like he's got stuck on the way up.
Check inside the toilet, underneath the toilet lid. Godfather style.
I'm ready for her to say, I unscrewed the vents and stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
I looked in the ice cube trays.
My tiptoes on the bed and I'm jumping up to get the box. And I'm like, what is going to follow? What's going to happen? And I grabbed the tip of the box and it completely opened and fell on my head, all the contents of the box.
Oh,
and thankfully, it was a Christmas wreath hanging above around my neck from the box. So,
oh, wow.
Ralph really, truly had above his bed.
He loves
Christmas ornaments and decorations. And I was so happy to see that it was truly the Christmas decorations. So
we're not going to play any more of that, Ben.
Yeah, nice embellishment there on the story. She just goes, it fell on my around my neck.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and why would you have to ask for permission to tell that innocuous story where something silly happens to you? But I love the idea that she thinks that there was no naughty box in the house. There was nothing found. Because Chris Wilding is smiling, going, "Oh, really? Did you get there at 3:30 a.m. like I did?" That would be the real thing. That he beat her to it.
That'd be so funny. I also think, Ben, that's now why she tied in that innocuous anecdote about Christmas and their love of Christmas. So she's already mapped out this poor story so far ahead of time. That's why she had to tie in the beginning, our love of Christmas. I'm going to miss Ralph. And now it's the wreath that fell on my head.
Yeah. Don't buy it. Anyway, guys, I think that's it for today. We hope you've enjoyed this. It's probably going to be 2 parts. I'm not 100% sure. It depends on what the edit looks like. But Ben, thank you so much for sticking through this one. And I know Christmas is going to be a busy time, but we thank you so much for being on here. The fans love to hear from you. And of course, Sam, as always, my dear, A1, great insight, great points regarding some of this more shady fucking the shadier edges of this awful story.
Are you, Ben? I'm fascinated.
Yeah. So anybody with storage locker, like anybody close to storage locker in Jersey, wherever he's from.
Yeah. One last thing I want to say before we go about this is that, you know how Howard always loves to say the psychology of people who they want to get caught. That's always what he likes to say.
Yeah.
My take on this is he's letting this out. We went over to Ralph's house and big smiles on our face. We cleared it out. He wants to get credit, not want to get caught, of how slick and how smart he is. Like, we've already gotten away with it. So he couldn't just keep that to himself and go, wow, perfect crime. He needs the credit for it.
Yes.
And I'm going to close off with this one last clip, guys. It's about him projecting his own, as the Iron Sheik would say, GAY and FAGGOT onto Oprah and Gayle King from April 20th, 420 for all you potheads out there, 4/20/05.
I think she's some kind of an editor.
Yeah, Gail's Oprah's Ralph.
Oh, that's a good way to put it, all right.
But she actually completes things.
Yeah, she does.
She does?
No, my theory is, and, you know, it's only a theory. I ain't saying anybody's a lesbo. I don't know. But I feel those two are in love with each other and that they do each other and that they have sex with each other, blown out lesbian sex.
So she really is his Ralph.
They travel together.
Oh.
You agree, right?
I totally agree.
And
I always felt that.
I think if that is true, Oprah should come out of the closet.
I think I probably should end on that one.
Oh, you do think that she should come out of the closet? I thought you should take it to your grave. Why? I mean, should Oprah and Gayle? I mean, it's so sacred.
And should the ally to the LGBTQ community be calling them lesbos?
Mm-hmm. Big fat dykes.
Yeah. Anyway, guys, thank you so much, and we love you, everybody out there, and in QF land. Take care, stay warm, and if you got a fireplace, burn them.
Later, douchebags.
Yeah.
Maybe she would have let you watch while she was fucking Simon Cowell.
Oh, no.
Eric, how are you over there? I'm face fucking your dick. Oh, thanks, Simon. I'm a big fan. Yeah, you're a big fan. Watch me splooge all over her tits. Wow, thank you, Simon.
She won't even let me see them.
She won't let me touch them, yeah, because you're a midget fag. Now watch me fuck her in her asshole. Hey, while I'm fucking your wife, midget, come over here with a fucking cup of tea for me.